Chapter 1. The Shattered Cage and Echoes of the Past. In the muted glow of dawn, Thorn, once a majestic emblem of the wild, found himself a spectacle for the indifferent masses, his spirit caged not just by the iron bars of his enclosure, but by a decade of captivity. Each day blurred into the next, a monotonous parade of faces peering in with fleeting curiosity. The essence of the seer, a vestige of his once untamed spirit, lay dormant, a mere whisper beneath the roar of his lost freedom. Yet, within the depths of despair, a defiance smoldered, fanned by the whispers of the wildlands that haunted his dreams. On a night cloaked in darkness, when the stars hid away as if in conspiracy, that defiance ignited. The seer's essence surged within Thorn, a storm of power and madness breaking free from the shackles of suppression. With a roar that shattered the stillness, Thorn bent the bars of his cage, reclaiming the freedom that was his by birthright. Stepping into the night, the city's lights fading behind him, Thorn was driven by an instinctual pull towards the wildlands, his heart beating in tune with the ancient call of the wild. Yet, the forest that greeted him was shrouded in an eerie silence, a thick fog snaking through the lifeless underbrush, a ghost of the vibrant wildlands he remembered. Days of aimless wandering through this desolate landscape left Thorn weary, the scarcity of food a grim reminder of the unnatural stillness that had taken hold. It was then, amidst the oppressive quiet, that a chilling scream pierced the air, a sound so filled with agony and terror it rooted Thorn to the spot. The scream, human in its anguish yet monstrous in its intensity, echoed through the fog, a dire warning of the horrors hidden within. Torn between the urge to uncover the source and the primal instinct to flee, Thorn hesitated, the scream a harrowing reminder of the peril lurking in the shadows. In the end, survival instinct prevailed. Thorn turned and fled, the haunting echo of the scream chasing him as he left the twisted forest behind. Emerging into a lighter, more vibrant part of the wildlands, Thorn found solace in the return of life's chorus. Here, birds sang from the treetops, and creatures stirred in the underbrush, a stark contrast to the desolation he had escaped. Days of peaceful respite passed before Thorn stumbled upon a small village, an idyllic enclave where bears, foxes, cats, and dogs coexisted in a harmony that bordered on the surreal. Yet, as he wandered down the village roads, an unsettling silence fell, doors shutting in his wake, the villagers' stares heavy with unspoken fears. In search of answers about the silent forest and the creature behind the scream, Thorn approached a shopkeeper, only to be met with a door slammed shut. It was a homeless rat, cornered with nowhere to flee, that finally spoke, though its words were shrouded in riddles. The creature of the woods, it sees naught but hunts all. A pile of dung you become if its gaze upon you falls. The rat squeaked, its eyes darting with nervous energy. Frustration mounting, Thorn demanded clarity, but the rat's answers spiraled further into riddles, leaving him with more questions than answers. As the rat's cryptic warnings tangled in his mind, Thorn's vision blurred, the world spinning as he collapsed. The seer's laughter, a mocking echo in his consciousness, was the last thing he heard before darkness claimed him. The creature, now in the Z-zone, must be destroyed, the seer whispered as Thorn drifted in the void, a command that set him on a path from which there was no return. Awakening with the dawn, Thorn's resolve hardened. The village, with its silent stairs and shuttered doors, could not contain him. Armed with the essence of the seer, and a will forged in the fires of freedom, he set his sights on the Z-zone, determined to confront whatever darkness lay ahead. As Thorn ventured forth, the village fading into the distance, the bone-chilling scream of the dead girl Caballo echoed once more through the wildlands, a reminder of the task that lay before him. Yet, Thorn pressed on, driven by a newfound purpose in the haunting laughter of the seer, guiding him towards a destiny intertwined with the very heart of the wildlands. Thorn's journey through the village had been a quest for elusive answers, facing the villagers' inexplicable fear and avoidance. It was not until he encountered Lark, a young traveling fox with a coat as bright as the dawn, that Thorn found a moment of clarity and kindness. "Lark," Thorn said, his voice warmed by gratitude, "your words are a rare light in this place of shadows." And then there was Silva, an old owl with wisdom in her eyes, who perched silently above, adding her voice to the tale. "The creature you seek, Thorn is bound to the essence you carry. Its power is vast, its malice deep. Tread carefully, for the wildlands themselves hang in the balance. With the guidance of Lark and the wisdom of Silva, Thorn began to piece together the mystery of the silent forest and the creature that haunted its depths. The village's perfection, he realized, was a facade, a veneer of harmony crafted out of fear, and a desperate bid for survival against an unseen horror. As Thorn prepared to leave the village, his resolve was steeled by the knowledge Lark and Silva had shared. The dead girl Caballo, a terror that stalked the shadows, was a being he was destined to face, for the sake of restoring peace to the wildlands and unraveling the twisted fate that bound him to the seer. "Thank you, Lark, Silva," Thorn said, turning to face his new companions. "Your courage and insight have given me hope. Together, we'll face this darkness." With a nod to his friends, Thorn set out towards the Z-Zone, the screams of the dead girl Caballo echoing in his mind, a sinister lullaby on his path to confrontation. The tale of Thorn, Lark, and Silva was just beginning, a story of courage, friendship, and the struggle between light and darkness in the heart of the wildlands.
Chapter 2. Journey to the Z-Zone. With the village receding into the distance, Thorn, Lark, and Silva embarked on their journey toward the Z-Zone, the heart of the mystery that had cast a shadow over the wildlands. The path was fraught with the unknown, but the bond between the unlikely companions lent them a strength they had not possessed alone. As they traversed the vibrant edge of the wildlands, where life flourished in defiance of the creeping silence from the Z-Zone, Lark kept pace beside Thorn, her bright fur a stark contrast to the somber hues of the forest. Silva, wise and silent, flew overhead, her keen eyes scouting the path ahead. It was during these moments of quiet companionship that Lark turned to Thorn, her voice tinged with curiosity. "Thorn, do you remember how we first met? It seems like a lifetime ago, back when you and Bramble roamed the meadow together." Thorn, his thoughts momentarily drifting back to those simpler times, nodded. "How could I forget? You wandered into our meadow, lost and afraid. It was just after dawn, and the dew still clung to the grass." Lark laughed softly, the sound and melody in the quiet of the forest. "I was so startled by you two. I'd never seen bears so close before. But then, those hunters came, and I thought it was the end for me." Thorn's expression hardened at the memory. "I remember. They were after you, thinking you were an easy target. But Bramble and I, we couldn't let them harm a friend of the meadow." "And you didn't," Lark said, her gaze meeting Thorn's. "You stood between me and them, fearless and imposing. I've never forgotten that. You saved me, Thorn." Thorn looked away, uncomfortable with the praise. "It was what anyone would have done," he murmured, his gaze fixed on the path ahead. "The meadow was our home, and we protected all who shared it with us." Silva, descending from her aerial view to perch on a low-hanging branch, interjected with her wise tone. "Yet, not everyone would have made that choice, Thorn. It speaks to the heart you possess, a heart that sees beyond the surface, recognizing kinship and courage in others, regardless of their form." As they continued their journey, the conversation turned towards the task that lay before them. The Z-Zone loomed ahead, a place where the fog grew thicker, and the twisted trees stood as silent sentinels to a land forsaken by the vibrant life of the surrounding wildlands. Lark, her earlier levity fading, glanced towards the dense mist that marked the boundary of the Z-Zone. "What do you think we'll find there?" she asked, a note of apprehension in her voice. Thorn considered her question, the seer's essence within him stirring uneasily. "Answers, I hope. And the creature that has brought such silence to the forest. We must be cautious, but determined. The balance of the wildlands depends on us." Silva, taking to the air once more, added, "And within that silence lies a truth waiting to be uncovered. The Z-Zone holds more than just the creature. It is a place where the very fabric of the wildlands is torn. We must mend it, for the sake of all who call this land home." The trio approached the edge of the Z-Zone, the air growing colder, the fog thicker, as if to dissuade them from venturing further. Yet, their resolve did not waver. They had come too far to turn back now. Lark, drawing closer to Thorn, sought comfort in the bear's unwavering strength. "Thorn, back in the meadow, when you defended me, it wasn't just bravery. There was a wisdom in your action, a deep understanding of what it means to be a guardian of the wild. It's that same wisdom that will guide us through the Z-Zone." Thorn, touched by Lark's words, offered a small nod. "And it will be your light, Lark, that keeps the darkness at bay. Together, with Silva's guidance, we'll face whatever awaits us." As they stepped into the Z-Zone, the world around them changed. The fog enveloped them, a blanket of mist that obscured their vision and muffled their steps. Yet, they moved forward, guided by Silva's keen eyes from above, and the light from Lark's spirit, with Thorn leading the way, the essence of the seer within him pulsing as if sensing the proximity of their foe. The deeper they ventured, the more palpable the silence became, a void where even the sound of their breathing seemed to vanish. It was in this oppressive quiet that they heard it, a soft, almost imperceptible rustle, a disturbance in the stillness that set their nerves on edge. Thorn halted, signaling for silence. The rustle came again, closer this time, a whisper through the fog that sent a shiver down their spines. It was then they realized they were not alone. Eyes, glowing faintly in the mist, watched them, the gaze of the dead girl Caballo piercing the fog that shrouded her form. Silva's voice, calm yet urgent, broke the tension. Do not fear. Remember, it is not just sight that guides us, but the connection we share with the wild. Stand together and let your spirits be as one. With a deep breath, Thorn stepped forward, the essence of the seer flaring to life within him, a beacon in the gloom. Lark and Silva joined him, their presence a testament to the bonds forged on their journey. A bear, a fox, and an owl, united in purpose against the darkness that threatened their home. The confrontation with the dead girl Caballo was imminent, but they were ready. They stood as guardians of the wildlands, their courage kindled by the stories of their past and the hope for a future where the wildlands thrived once more. As they prepared to face the creature, the air around them seemed to still, the forest holding its breath in anticipation. Chapter 3. The Mist and the Madness. As the trio braced themselves for the confrontation, the dead girl Caballo emerged from the fog with a haunting grace, galloping towards them on limbs that blurred the line between beauty and horror. Her arrival was heralded by a chilling scream that pierced the silence of the Z-Zone, a sound that seemed to claw at the very essence of those who heard it. Thorn, Lark, and Silva steeled themselves against the impending attack, but as the dead girl drew closer, their vision began to blur, a testament to her terrifying power. The mere sight of her was enough to send any creature into a fear-induced coma, a fate that quickly befell Lark and Silva. They collapsed, succumbing to the overwhelming terror that accompanied the dead girl's gaze. Thorn, however, had been forewarned by the seer just moments before the encounter. With a roar that resonated through the fog, he commanded Lark and Silva to close their eyes and push through the bramble, away from the direct sight of the dead girl. In that critical moment, Thorn made a deal with the seer, a pact sealed with desperation and determination. He agreed to sacrifice half his soul in exchange for half the seer's power, a trait that imbued him with the strength and cunning he needed to face the dead girl on equal footing. As Lark and Silva found refuge among the thick brambles, their senses dulled by the fear that gripped them, Thorn faded into the mist, a phantom in the gloom. The dead girl, relentless in her pursuit, trailed his scent, her screeching cries echoing through the Z-Zone as she used echolocation to track him. Thorn, empowered by the seer's essence, struck out from the shadows, his attacks a blur of motion as he sought to overpower the creature. But the dead girl was not easily bested. With a swift, powerful kick, she sent Thorn flying, his body crashing to the ground with a force that left him reeling. The chapter closes with Thorn lying dazed and injured, the weight of his deal with the seer heavy upon him. The mist around him seemed to pulse with the power of their pact, a constant reminder of the soul he had sacrificed for a chance at victory. As he struggled to rise, the dead girl's screeching filled the air, a haunting soundtrack to the battle that raged on. Lark and Silva, hidden in the safety of the brambles, could only listen in horror as their friend faced the dead girl alone, their own fear rendering them helpless. The trio's unity, once their greatest strength, was fractured in the face of the dead girl's terrifying power. Chapter 4. The Final Bargain. Thorn lay on the ground, the aftermath of the dead girl Caballo's powerful kick, leaving him on the brink of unconsciousness. The world around him blurred, the edges of his vision darkening as pain and defeat threatened to engulf him. It was this moment of utter despair that the seer spoke to him once more, its voice a whisper in the chaos of his mind. I offer you one final bargain, the seer proposed, its tone laced with an ominous finality. My full power, in exchange for your body. With it, you can protect Lark, defeat the creature that haunts these lands, but the cost will be your very essence. Thorn, his consciousness waning, faced a choice that was no choice at all. To protect Lark, to fulfill the duty that had driven him from the moment of his escape, he would pay any price. With a resolve born of love and desperation, Thorn accepted the seer's final offer. Do it, he whispered, his voice barely a breath. For Lark, for the wildlands. In the next instant, Thorn disappeared, swallowed by the mist that had been the backdrop of their battle. The dead girl, Caballo, momentarily startled by his sudden banishment, scanned the fog with her eerie, glowing eyes, seeking out her prey. Then, without warning, Thorn reappeared, not as the bear they knew, but as a being of pure energy, his form aglow with a powerful green light. The seer's essence had consumed him, transforming him into a vessel of its unmatched power. With no hesitation, Thorn unleashed a beam of green energy, striking the dead girl Caballo with a force that the forest had never witnessed. The creature let out a final, agonized scream before collapsing, the life fading from her twisted form. As the dead girl fell, the forest fell silent, the oppressive fog lifting to reveal the sun breaking through the canopy. Lark and Silva, emerging from their hiding place, could only stare in awe and horror at the scene before them. But Thorn's victory was short-lived. As the last remnants of the dead girl dissipated, Thorn felt the seer's essence enveloping him, taking control. He struggled to maintain his grip on his fading consciousness, to reach out to Lark and Silva one last time. But the seer's power was overwhelming. His vision faded to black. The last thing he saw was Lark's face, a mixture of gratitude and grief. Thorn had saved them, but at what cost? The seer's laughter echoed in the void where Thorn's consciousness once resided, a dark reminder of the bargain's true price. Thorn had become the seer's vessel, his body now a conduit for a power beyond comprehension, his essence lost to the depths of the bargain he had made. Lark and Silva, forever changed by the events of the Z-Zone, stand as guardians of the story of Thorn, a bear who sacrificed everything to protect the land and creatures he loved. The tale closes with the forest slowly regaining its voice, the birds singing once more, and the creatures of the wildlands emerging from their hiding places. Life continues, the memory of Thorn's sacrifice a somber but hopeful whisper among the trees, a reminder of the cost of freedom and the power of selfless love.